So after a couple times of trial, so this is what I came to conclusion. The field light is 0.05 for me now, and the key light is 0.06, and the number, because they are different in numbers, and so then there's not quite much in difference in power. Okay, so this is the first bit, is you use the omelette lights to build some light panels, and this is more like an area light concept in practice with something that is not capable of doing area lights. We can just multiply the numbers of omelette lights or pond lights then to get them into the working help for a soft area light source. So how do you go about solving the problem of getting the too bright of a yellow wall? It's almost like we have this object here that's supposed to be shiny, and the holy grail of the whole image, that should be the interest of center, the focus. How would you allow that in the background of such a wall so bright? It doesn't make sense. It's not aesthetically good, and it's quite annoying, to be honest. So how do we cut that blade of light into that gigantic yellow reflective wall that we don't like in the back? Is one thing that is not quite simulated in 3D Studio Max right now with omelette light. It's not doing enough. Is that term called decay. Something happens with natural or artificial lighting, is that actually many artificial light sources decay over distance. Under this decay family, we could use attenuation. Attenuation means it's pretty much the same thing, but instead of using a formula, it lets you to customize it interactively, totally in your own hand. So what it means to attenuate is when light travels far enough, a certain distance, away, when it's traveling away from the light bulb or the omelette light source, up to a certain distance, you could put start. That means when it starts to drop, and at the end it drops to 0, and so start is just put it this way: when it meets the start point, you want to type in now, is 100% strength in power, and then when it gets to the point you set here at the end box, number box here, then it drops to 0% in strength of power. So what you do is you just have to tell 3D Studio Max about, okay, this is the light that we would like to have attenuation activated. So when this light ray coming out of one of these light bulbs, omelette lights, and then travel to a certain distance, say 100 millimeters. Well, that's too short, obviously. So how about 500 millimeters? That's too long because it's already cutting into the schedule. So you just try and figure out the number and tell 3D Studio Max to start dropping or start decreasing the power of the attenuation of the light. And then you just also at the same time you want to tell the light source as in how further it's going to decrease until it's totally 0. Okay, so say 500 for n, and you can see if I could just isolate one of these, maybe I create a new one so that it's not so hard to see. I know it looks chaos and scares you, but then if only just one of these, maybe it's easier. Just like so. So this is an omelette light, right? If I've activated my fine attenuation, that means outward from the light source for 330 millimeters, it will be 100% strength within that volume, and then once it reaches this line, the borderline, it will start to draw and drop to 0 when it reaches 5 millimeters out from the center of the light source. So it's just that simple. But then if you can see, this like a volley of fire squad all in effect, it would just change the whole game drastically. Well, let me just keep it simple. Is I turn off the field lights. No, not this one. Oops. Let me select the field lights and turn them all off, right? So when now we get back to just with one single light source from one light panels, and they are all activated with the attenuation. So remember, before we had something like this, and now let's see, voila, it's magic. So everything just cuts off after 500 millimeters, and it's pitch dark. It's not like there's no light in this room. It's just that these light rays are not reaching far enough into the back of the room. So that helps. That saves the day. It helps a lot. I have total control of decay, but not using decay as in the tube, but I mean the concept. So, well, of course, that's too sharp and not natural. But how about 700, 750, or even? My only job is to keep them out of the back of the wall, but you have to watch out for the floor too. But doing this enables me to have a better shadow of the statue and more natural. So say 900. So another trial and error, but quite fast and efficient. So I'm not complaining because Scanline is a rather fast renderer. Still, if I making the cuts, you see, I'm making the cuts through the wall now, but it has dropped so much already. Not 0%, but close to that, maybe 10 or 20%, and it will be quite natural towards the back of the room with some visibility, some illumination, but not all, and not obviously not too much, to make it bounce back and giving me that bright yellow great wall of annoyance and taking away the focus from the statue itself. So with the same concept, now I turn on my field light also, and it will be what numbers? I totally forgot. So you can see I just when I bought it, well, 330 millimeters to 1,300 millimeters. So maybe I just keep it simple and use the same numbers. That work too. Remember, this is far attenuation. That means it's only dropping off. If it's near attenuation, it's a different thing, and it works reversely, the other way around. So we don't need that today. So be careful with that. Make sure you check the lower two boxes, not the first two boxes. And now field light all along. Introduce the scene. Well, maybe it's too weak from the field light, or maybe let's see. No, actually, the field light doesn't have to travel that far, right? I bring that. Looks like they have a different scale or something, so must have messed up with the scale, so I cannot use the same number now. Well, anyway, so they have to touch, so you just read, looking at the bounding boxes, they have to at least, I mean the start has to at least touch the statue, and then maybe the end drops off a little bit after it went past. Okay, is that too bright? Maybe, I don't know, maybe 3,000 and 5,000. Feel like I have put 0.05, so that gives me a fairly sharp shadow. Well, there's some trade-off, but it's fine. And now the underside, or the field side, the underside of the chin is not bad. I still see, well, I have to nice even tone. You still feel the key light coming from the right, but it's not pitch dark on the left side of the statue. So this is quite nice, quite balanced shadows on the statue itself. And then I have managed to keep my background down. It's quite dark in the back of the room, so I have yet more space for myself, more headroom for myself to set up other ambient light source. And most important thing is I have further moved away. Let me put into the floor plan now. You can see it's like so way to the left, and only affecting, most of them are affecting this to the side of the statue. If, well, just by looking at this floor plan, if I even make it better, I would say you could even try harder is to really leave it to the side of the statue. Then the difference between the key light direction and the side would be even stronger, so that my fill light is not interfering with any of the right hand side of the statue or the front facing. So you can tell there is a difference between the two, the key light and the fill light.